Welcome to Fitbyfood, where we outsmart binge eating without restriction. In this video, I will talk about the lies we tell ourselves, and more in particular, the diet starts on Monday. Why do we do this? Why do we lie to ourselves? We allow a moment to indulge with the compromise we tell ourselves that we will start this, we will take responsibility on Monday. This act of lying to ourselves, we really are seduced by this side of ourselves that want us to indulge, that strongly believes that we need food. We need food at this moment, and not any food. We need food that is high in sugar and very high in fat, that is very tasty and packed with calories. We just need to shove it down to still something inside. Why do we do this? This is a self-sabotaging coping mechanism that we've done for ages. It results in us feeling bad about ourselves, feeling guilt, feeling shame, gaining weight that does increase the shame and the guilt even more, and it just leaves us in war with our body. There's plenty of reasons why we chose food as a coping mechanism. In many cases, we do inherit this coping mechanism from our parents. So maybe we have a parent that struggles with weight, so we've seen their way of coping with reality is escaping in food. Maybe it's just our own way of self-soothing. Early on, we learned that snacks is a reward. We get candy as a reward for being good. So if we feel bad about ourselves after an overwhelming day, we just want to reward ourselves. So it's an act of self-love, but we do it in a way that's not very responsible for our health and our well-being. We might know this. We might know that it's not good for us and we do not want to gain weight. We want to be healthy, but we still continue on with this habit. There's a disconnect of we don't know any other way to cope. We don't know and trust other ways, so we are super firm in our coping mechanism. We want to keep this because we think that, and we have a belief that there's no other way that I can feel good at this moment. And this is a very young version of you that connects food to safety, that connects snacking to reward and self-soothing. Maybe you've tried different things. Maybe you've tried meditation or affirmations or yoga or anything, just taking a walk instead, or you tried restricting your diet and believing that it will help, but it hasn't. And that makes you not believe that habit. You think there's nothing else that I can do that safely meets this part of me that feels overwhelmed, so food is the coping mechanism. And you know that it's bad for you, you know that you don't want to do it, but you still do it, and you kind of have this cognitive dissonance when the urge comes up, when you feel overwhelmed in your body, you have so many feelings after a long day at work, and then you just reach for food because it's your automatic coping mechanism. And you turn off the responsible voice that tells you no, you shouldn't, and then you do it anyway because it's a survival mechanism. You're trying to allow your psyche to have a bit of relief. But the good news is that there are so many other different coping mechanisms, and you can start to explore them, but you need to have a way to feel safe enough to explore them. And that's where Fitbyfood comes into the picture. At Fitbyfood, we are very unique because we keep the coping mechanism. So you can still binge, you can still use food to self-soothe, but you choose different food items. I preach a high-carb, low-fat, plant-based diet, so you can binge on the foods, but they're good for your health and you don't gain weight. And how this is possible is that we focus on foods that are high in volume and low in calories, which means it fills up our stomach and we can't overdo the binge. It's very hard to eat too many calories on a high-carb, low-fat, plant-based diet. So you minimize the trigger from your coping mechanism, and then you start to approach new ways to cope and also the core wounding of why you even need to cope in the first place. But the first step is to switch up the food items so you can still snack whenever you get the urge, because discipline and harshness does not work. You know this because that's why you're stuck in this cycle and this rut of I will be harsh now, and then you cave, and then you tell yourself, okay, I will do the diet on Monday, and then the cycle continues, and you're stuck in this cycle. Like, it can go on for years, and it's this disillusion that it will come a day, I will become strong enough. But the reality is that you become weaker and weaker every time you do this cycle. You get so much distrust for yourself when you go away from your word. So the only real solution to this is do everything in baby steps. Switch up the food items. Eventually you go into exploring new coping mechanisms. We start very slowly so we don't get overwhelmed. This is a way out of the cycle, of the self-sabotaging cycle. It's a very mild way out. I swear by this method. It's really bulletproof and you can do everything in your own tempo. At getfitbyfood.com there is a module 1 that goes through all nutritional knowledge you need and also gives you practical knowledge with recipes and a way to get new inspiration all the time to make this transition very smooth. There's also a book on the getfitbyfood.com website where you can read about the psychological reasons behind binge eating. If you want more content like this, subscribe, and remember, it is possible to get fit by food.